Okay, so questions 9 and 10, last two questions of the week. So we've got two questions here. So question number 9, so I know it's a little bit small, but obviously you've got a copy of this in front of you, hopefully. So we've got Lara here who had some money and she spent £1.25 on a drink. So I'm going to write some of this down on my whiteboard. So £1.25 equals a drink. £1.60 on a sandwich, so a sandwich. And she has 3/4 of her money left. How much did Lara have to start with? So if she has got 3/4 left, it must mean that this is a quarter. So she spent a quarter because she has 3/4 left. So we need to know how much money she had to start with in total. So put that to the side for a minute. So her drink and her sandwich is equivalent to a quarter. And we want to know what the whole amount she had to start with is. So what I think we're going to do first is we're going to add up these two amounts to see how much money we are playing with. So, and my columns are a bit iffy over here, but that's fine. So 5 plus 0 is 5, 6 plus 2 is 8, and then 1 plus 1 is 2. So in total, she spent £2.85, and £2.85 is a quarter. And we want to know what 1/2 is. So I know that 4/4 is a whole, because a quarter plus a quarter plus a quarter plus a quarter gives me a whole. Just like if I had a little diagram like this, all these are quarters, a quarter plus a quarter plus a quarter plus a quarter. All of the quarters equal 1/2, which for us is how much money Lara spent. So all I really need to do at this point now is multiply the total by 4, because if I multiply this by 4, that will give me the whole amount. So I've multiplied it by 4, popped it in my columns, just going to whack my decimal place in, and we'll times this and we'll see what we get. So 5 times 4 gives me 20. 8 times 4 gives me 32, plus 2 gives me 40. What am I talking about? So let's just say it again. So 8 times 4 is 32, plus 2 is 34. We then have 4 times 2, which is 8, plus 3 gives me 11. So we've now got £11.40. Now, in terms of common sense and estimation, that sounds like a sort of a sensible answer. But what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to do the inverse now to see if I can get back to my original number over here and see if this works for Lara. So if I've got £11.40, which I'll pop here, if I was to divide this by 4 now, that would hopefully leave me with a quarter. So we'll just double check and see what we get. So 4 into 1 we can't do. We've got 4 and 11. Well, that's going to go in twice because 4 times 2 is 8. Pop decimal point in there. With 3 left over. 4 into 34. Well, the nearest I can get there is 8 because 8 times 4 is 32. Then we have 2 left over. And then 4 into 20. Well, I know that 5 times 4 is 20. And that's what I get. So therefore, in terms of what the actual question is asking us to do here, our actual answer needs to be how much did Lara have to start with? We don't care how much she spent, it's how much did she have to start with, and that answer is going to be £11.40. That would be my answer, £11.40. So that's that question. Let's finish off with question number 10, last one of the week. Another question about Lara. Lara's very popular today, whoever Lara is. So on Saturday, Lara read 2/5 of her book. On Sunday, she read another 90 pages to finish the book. How many pages are in Lara's book? Okay, so Saturday she read 2/5. So let's write this out. So Saturday, so Sat equals 2/5. So that's what I know so far, but I don't know how many pages that is right now. I'm just sort of thinking like, how many pages is there? I don't actually know. And then on Sunday, it says here she read the other 90 pages. So on Sunday, we know she read 90 pages. So obviously she read the whole book on these 2 days. So both of this has got to add up to a whole book. So just write that over here. So that's one book. So I know that this is 2/5. So therefore this fraction here has got to be 3/5. But I need to work out the pages over here. So if 3/5 is equal to 90 pages, to work out 1/5, I can just divide 90 by 3. So if I was to divide 90 by 3, I would end up with 30 pages. So what we should end up with, if I write it here, so 1/5 is equal to 30. 2/5, this is not very tidy. 2/5 would be 60. 3/5 is 90. So I can actually start writing my multiples out. I'll write down here, this is probably much better. 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, because this is 1/5, this is 2/5, this would be 3/5, this would be 4/5, and that would be 1 whole. So that means that on Saturday, she read 2/5, which would have been 60 pages. And if I rub this out a second, if we add these two together, 90 plus 60, we would end up with 150. Just like we've worked out over here, which means that in Lara's book, she has 150 pages.